Okay, welcome back. Unit 3, Video 11. Last time we talked about the modern world and sort of two big cultural changes that happened. The scientific revolution leads to the belief in progress, and we had Renaissance humanism, which led to the belief that individuals mattered at all, and therefore that freedom was something that we should be concerned about. Okay, today what we're going to do is talk about how those two big changes within the collective consciousness end up influencing and changing the way social institutions, patterned ways of meeting needs work. So just to orient us before we get started, what we're talking about is ideas that change our behaviors, changes in thoughts and changes in behaviors. Thoughts and behaviors are the outcomes of our machine, but here what we see is in semi-real time, a change in people's understanding of the world leading to changes in what they do. Okay, so we're back to our drawing of a society. I've kind of expanded the two lower quadrants, collective consciousness and social institutions, just to be able to illustrate for you the way these changes happen. We'll start with belief in progress. So remember, human beings didn't used to believe in progress. They believed in tradition. The way things had been done was the way that we were going to continue to do them. What happens with the scientific revolution is that we suddenly believe in progress, and that leads, now importantly, why it leads to rationalization is not an easy thing for me to explain. And would probably really require an entire history book to do it. But when I describe what rationalization is for you, it will be clear to you that out of all the possible things that belief in progress could lead to, it makes sense that this was one of them, and this is the one that we live with today. Rationalization means organizing processes. So to begin with, that's the beginning of the definition. Rationalization is organizing processes. So processes meaning the way we do things. Organizing processes to be as efficient as possible. To the extent that you care about things being efficient, that is a result of our society's embrace of rationalization. To rationalize things is to make them as efficient as possible. Now, so this is still sort of a kind of a general term, but what we see with regard to how rationalization is implemented, how we actually implement the idea of efficiency in social institutions, is that rationalization leads to organizations being set up as bureaucracies. And I'm going to write the term bureaucracies. It's in the book. They have a very good description of bureaucracies within the book. Bureaucracies are a specific way of organizing statuses. So bureaucracy, there are several different components of bureaucracies, but the three that I want you to focus on is that there's a strict division of labor in a bureaucracy. In the bureaucracy of our university, I'm a teacher. That's all I do. I don't do the secretary's job. I don't do the janitor's job. I don't do the coach's job. I don't do the people who do admissions. I don't do their job. That's what we mean by a strict division of labor. So within rationalization leads to bureaucracy, and bureaucracy means a whole bunch of different offices. A strict division of labor. That's point one. Point two is that within that bureaucracy, there is a very hierarchical chain of command. It's not that everybody's on the same level. So in our university, I report to our department head. Our department head reports to the dean. The dean reports to, probably the vice president of academic affairs or something like that. But it is a multi-level system, and it is hierarchical in the sense that I have no power over the department head, but she has power over me. And she does not have power over the dean. He has power over her, and so on. So, and this is something we take for granted, both of those. Strict division of labor and what I just said, hierarchical chain of command, are things we take for granted. Of course you would organize a social institution in that way. We didn't do that for years and years and years. We didn't do that. That is something that is the result of the belief in progress, which leads to the idea of efficiency, that we can make things better. And remember, the entire machine exists in order to efficiently and securely meet our needs. The idea of rationalization says, you know what? This whole idea of progress, maybe we could do it, maybe we could meet a particular need more efficiently than we had been. So let's rationalize it, and in doing that, we will turn a social institution into a bureaucracy. The third point of that is this. Within those particular offices, teacher, dean, janitor, coach, admissions officer, within each of those, we are supposed to interact impersonally. So point 3 is impersonal interactions. I am supposed to interact with an office holder, not with a person named Kathleen or a person named Peter. I'm not supposed to interact with individuals. I'm supposed to interact impersonally. That's the third point of bureaucracy, which means they should be able to tell me things and I should not be offended by them. I should be able to tell them things and they should not be offended by it either. Personal feelings, personal emotional connection should not matter. The only thing that matters is the task being accomplished. Okay, so those are the 3 parts of bureaucracy that I want you to know. Strict division of labor, which means I do my job and nothing else. I have a very clear job description. Those are the things I do, not anything else. Hierarchical chain of command, I report to one person, she reports to one person, he reports to one person, and like that. And third, impersonal interactions. Now, all of these are things that we take for granted, but it's important to understand, remember what we evolved from, 100-person packs, that everything's personal. And there isn't a strict, there was a gendered division of labor, but people helped each other out. Everything was cooperative. And in this sense, bureaucracy still is cooperative, but it's cooperative based on efficiency, not based on personal relationships. You can see, and anytime you've interacted with a bureaucracy, I mean, you can see they don't care about you. It's not their job to care about you. It's their job to accomplish tasks. This is going to lead to problems for us. All right, belief in progress leads to rationalization. We can do the social institution more efficiently. And in order to do that, let's set up bureaucracies. Second big point is the belief in individual freedom leads to a particular perspective on how we're going to organize, not organize is the wrong term, the sort of animating spirit of a particular organization. And that organization is going to be competitive. And it is going to be based on individual profit. The idea here is capitalism. Now, we all take capitalism for granted that it exists. There are some of you who don't like capitalism. That's fine. I'm not here to tell you you should like it or dislike it. In fact, with both of these, bureaucracy and capitalism, I'm not here to say that either of them is good or bad. I'm saying that they are changes to the way our species used to do things. They're part of the experiment, and as a result, we're going to see consequences. Some of the consequences are good, like you and I don't have this relationship via the internet without capitalism, somebody wanting to make money, and without things being organized in a really efficient way. So that's good. Some of the downsides we're going to talk about are the way that our lives and our work lives in particular don't seem particularly interesting, but we'll get there in a little bit. Right now, let's cycle back to capitalism. Capitalism has a lot, you'll read about it in the readings for this week. The main thing that I want you to understand, kind of a quick one-sentence idea here, is that it is a system for producing goods and services. So that's part 1, or the first part of it, a system for producing goods and services in order to make individual profit. Capitalism is the result of this change in our perspective on individuals. The group is less important than the individual in capitalism. The whole reason that communism exists is as a reaction to capitalism, saying, you know what, this isn't good for everybody. Let's go back to the idea of groupness. Capitalism is about individualness. Whereas we used to organize our social institutions on the basis of cooperation. Cooperation still exists here, but cooperation isn't the animating spirit of our social institutions at this point in our society. Now, we are more focused on competition as the animating spirit, and that's because we went to capitalism. Again, not good or bad. I'm not here to tell you what to think about anything. I'm here to tell you this is the water that you swim in, and make your own choices about what you like. All right, that's it. 2 big changes to social institutions. They are now organized on the basis of individual profit, most of the time. That's capitalism. And they are rationalized into bureaucracies to be as efficient as possible. Efficiency and individual profit are the animating spirits of this. All right, next time what we're going to do is talk about 2 of the big problems for members of our species that result from organizing institutions along these lines. So I'll see you then.